Welcome to the Utah State Board of Education School Safety webinar for the Safe and Healthy Schools webinar series. Hello, I am Rhett Larson, School Safety Specialist for the Utah State Board of Education. In the spring of 2019, the Utah State Legislature passed House Bill 120, the Student and School Safety Assessment Bill. This provided funding and structure to create the Utah State Board of Education School Safety Center. The School Safety Center is a multi-agency, multidisciplinary group of specialists. We will now do some brief introductions. I'll now turn it over to Scott Eyre.
Hello, I'm Scott Eyre, Utah Department of Health and Human Services, Office of Substance Abuse and Mental Health. Over to Jeremy.
Hello, I am Sergeant Jeremy Barnes with the Utah Department of Public Safety, assigned to the Statewide Information and Analysis Center and farmed out to the Utah School Safety Center. I will turn it over to Amy.
Hi, I am Amy Still-Smith. I'm a prevention specialist with the Utah State Board of Education, and I oversee absenteeism, truancy, dropout, and bullying prevention.
Hi, I'm Willie Chen. I'm also part of Utah State Board of Education, and I'm the School Safety Data Analyst. I will now turn it over to Shalise.
Hello, my name is Shalise Oldroyd. I am the Executive Secretary that supports the School Safety Center, and I work at the Utah State Board of Education. Back to you.
Thank you, team. Thank you, team. So the School Safety Center works together to strengthen school safety efforts through reviewing data and providing technical assistance, developing resources, trainings, and materials that promote school safety. Some of the ways we are improving school safety are providing threat assessment training for safety teams, ensuring families have access to needed resources to their communities, sharing best practices, and training to prevent bullying in schools, providing school resource officer training, offering guidance for emergency drills, and sharing important information with stakeholders regarding changes in law and policy. In the 2021 U.S. Secret Service analysis of plots against schools research, the U.S. Secret Service stated that threat assessments is the best practice for preventing targeted school violence. Students display a variety of observable concerning behaviors as they escalate towards violence. In order to identify, assess, and intervene with students who may pose a risk of harm to themselves or others, schools should develop multidisciplinary threat assessment programs. In Utah, our laws and policies align with this guidance. Schools should have threat assessment procedures as well as multidisciplinary teams who conduct threat assessments. Threat assessment is a problem-solving approach to violence prevention that involves assessment and intervention with students who have threatened violence in some way. The School Safety Center has provided model policies that local education agencies can utilize to help them with the implementation of threat assessment and multidisciplinary teams. There is a school safety pilot school grant. This is a one-year grant that local education agencies can apply for funds to help them with the implementation of threat assessment training or other school safety training and professional learning opportunities, such as school safety conferences. Now I will turn the time over to Jeremy Barnes.
Hello, and thank you, Rhett. While there is no mandated training before a school resource officer is appointed to a school, statute requires that Utah State Board of Education shall provide and make available school resource officer training to school resource officers, school administrators, and school personnel. Furthermore, if an MOU exists between a law enforcement agency and an educational agency, the school resource officer and the principal or the principal's designee must jointly complete the training per statute 53G-8-703. Currently, there is work being done to establish an RFP and make this training available through a Canvas course. Next slide. In the fall of 2020, it was estimated that there were just over 200 full-time school resource officers in the state of Utah. Since that time, there have been 131 officers trained in either basic or advanced school resource officer training through the National Association of School Resource Officers, more commonly known as NASRO. NASRO is nationally recognized as the gold standard in school-based law enforcement training, and the basic course is the only certified course through the International Association of Directors of Law Enforcement Standards and Training, commonly known as IADLIST. Over the coming months, through a partnership between the Utah Department of Public Safety and the Utah Department of Health and Human Services Office of Substance Use and Mental Health, a NASRO basic course and 2 adolescent mental health training courses will be provided at no cost to the participants. The basic course will be held in Orem, October 31st through November 4th. The first adolescent mental health training will be held in St. George, November 28th and 29th, and the second will be held in Orem, December 1st and 2nd. For additional information or registration information, please contact me at my email, jerbarnes@utah.gov. Next slide. The Utah Association of School Resource Officers, or UTASRO, was officially formed on July 1st, 2022, and is a registered nonprofit organization. UTASRO has a close relationship with NASRO and is an active member of NASRO's Region 10. Memberships are open to school resource officers, school administrators, counselors, teachers, and anyone working within the school or school district involved in school safety. More information as well as membership information can be found at utasro.org. I will now hand off to Amy.
Thanks, Jeremy. Again, my name is Amy Stillsmith, and I am a prevention specialist with the Utah State Board of Education, and I oversee bullying prevention. I'm going to briefly discuss with you some information on bullying, trainings, and strategies. Here's a breakdown of the statutes that surround our bullying rule, R277613. 606 is probably the most poignant, and it directs the board to monitor and develop and implement policies. This is being done in 2 ways. A survey is sent out at the end of June to collect LEA responses on their policies and to collect those policies. And then as we receive a hotline complaint related to a bullying incident. Next slide. Next slide. This is not all encompassing of the terms defined in 613, but I wanted to address these 5. Oftentimes, these 5 terms are lumped by many as being an incident of bullying. It is important for reporting purposes that we are delineating these different types of incidences and reporting them accurately and separately. Next slide. Bullying is commonly understood as aggressive behavior that is intended to cause distress and harm, exists in a relationship where there is an imbalance of power and strength, and is repeated over time. Bullying may involve physical actions, words, gestures, and social isolation. It may involve direct, relatively open attacks against a victim, but it can be indirect or subtle in nature. Bullying is defined by the board rule as a school employee or student intentionally committing a written, verbal, or physical act against a school employee or student that a reasonable person under the circumstances would know or reasonably foresee will have an effect of causing harm, physical, emotional, causing damage to property, placing an individual in fear of harm or damage, or creating a hostile environment, or substantially interfering with a student having a safe school environment. Next slide. These are a few of the trainings available. The QR code is a link to register or access more information. The first training is Functional Behavioral Assessment of Bullying. This is an evidence-based training provided through Safe and Civil Schools. It takes a multi-tiered approach to bullying, providing both universal procedures and designed to prevent bullying and ensure effective, systematic responses to bullying concerns, and target interventions for small groups and individuals who perpetrate bullying or who are frequently targeted. Our next training is in person November 7th and 8th. The next is restorative practices. Developed by the International Institute for Restorative Practices, IIRP, USBE provides training upon request to LEAs. Restorative practice is a social science that studies how to build social capital and achieve social discipline through participatory learning and decision-making. Restorative practices helps to reduce delinquent behavior, violence, and bullying, and improve human behavior, strengthen civil society, provide effective leadership, restore relationships, and repair harm. And then finally, the Utah Anti-Bullying Coalition, Stand for Kind. This organization received $100,000 appropriation from the legislature this last year. They provide free, impactful assemblies and programs, encourage a positive and safe school atmosphere by rewarding acts of kindness and helping schools afford state-of-the-art helplines and services. They also help schools apply for grants, find sponsors, and receive financial assistance to cover programs and safety initiatives. Next slide. Normal conflict is an important part of growing up, learning, but bullying and assault are not. It is important that we help students decipher whether what they are experiencing is normal or if it is something that has moved beyond normal conflict. This distinction is important because it's during those times of typical and normal peer-to-peer conflict that children can build some very important protective factors, such as conflict resolution, give and take, problem solving. It's a time when they can build resiliency and foster self-advocacy. When children practice these skills, it helps to prepare them for dealing with more difficult situations. It's also during typical and normal peer-to-peer conflict that we as adults can utilize very important interventions such as restorative practices that in most cases should not be used once a bullying incident has occurred. On the other end of the continuum is assault. These situations are serious and should be treated as such. An assault is a criminal act for which the subject needs to have protection and immediate resources made available to them. Along this continuum is bullying. Remember the acronym PRI from the previous screen: paradifferential, repeated, and intentional. These situations should not be blown off. It is important for schools to adhere closely to their policies regarding bullying behavior. Parents need to be brought into the conversation as a partner, whether they are the parent of the perpetrator or the subject of an incident. Also, be mindful to consider the needs of any bystanders involved. Next slide. Our children are watching and learning from the adults to determine if the environment they are in is safe for them, and if so, in what situations it is safe or unsafe. Positive culture for students stems from them knowing that the negative and unjust things that occur will be taken care of by the trusted adults in their environment. Studies have shown that youth who have a trusted adult in their life are less likely to bully others. These relationships have also been shown to have a positive effect on students who are or have been the subject of bullying or who have been a bystander to a bullying incident. We know that bullying incidences can be a traumatic event for those involved. Having a trusted adult the child feels comfortable talking to can decrease lasting trauma that may have been caused by a bullying incident or prevent future bullying incidences. I will now hand off to Scott Eyre.
Thank you, Amy. The School Safety Center is active in a number of different initiatives across our state. I just want to mention a few and put those in the awareness of LEAs. So you can see those are on the horizon, something to follow up on. And the first thing I'd like to highlight is the School Safety Academy. This is something that we are currently working on with state leaders. It's focusing on providing ongoing certified training and information on national and state best practices on a variety of topics that directly impact the safety of our school communities. The Academy will cover topics such as building security, intervention, prevention, supporting students' mental health, emergency preparedness, and so on. Having researched what other states are doing in this space and what they have successfully implemented, the School Safety Center's vision is providing support on both a basic level training, which would be offered kind of a broad overview of topics, and then also an advanced level of training that would specialize and offer drilled down information for the different professionals and address current trends in the ever evolving landscape of school safety. Next slide. The School Safety Center also has just completed another project. This is something that we're really excited about highlighting. And that is the Utah's Behavioral Health Toolkit, collaborating to address the mental and emotional wellness for school-age children. The purpose of this toolkit is to offer LEAs and community agencies, local mental health authorities all across our state access to national and state level resources and considerations for best practices when advancing school-based behavioral health initiatives in their area. It's about bringing systems into alignment with each other and making sure that we're working collaboratively. Prioritizing school-based behavioral health is optional in our state, so this is not a prescriptive tool. However, the behavioral health concerns that students are experiencing are playing out in a very real way within our school communities. And so we want to provide this in order to support leaders who choose to engage in this work and to do so collaboratively. After conducting a series of stakeholder work groups and years of work that has gone into this, we have unveiled this toolkit to the field just last month. There'll be ongoing training and webinar assistance and technical assistance for LEAs along the way. So we are excited about that. And I think I will hand it over to Willie.
Thank you, Scott. To assist LEAs in implementing a safe school environment, USBE administers the School Climate Survey on the spring of odd years. In accordance with R277-6233, the School Climate Survey measures and assesses stakeholder perceptions of school environments through Utah and all K-12 public schools. The survey is administered by local education agencies and schools between March 17 and May 7th. Respondent groups include students grouped by grades, administrators, teachers, staff, parents, and school resource officers, or SROs. Next slide. LEAs and stakeholders can access the school climate survey data through the USBE website. Specifically, school climate survey data can be accessed through the USBE Data Gateway dashboard at the link below. Currently, the USBE Data Gateway is experiencing technical issues with this dashboard. You can access it directly using this link, also accessible through the PDF for the time being. And I'll now hand it over to Rhett Larson to conclude.
All right, thank you for attending the School Safety Center's webinar. If you have any questions, you can see our contact information on this screen. Please feel free to reach out to any one of us. And just so you know, there will be a second safety webinar this month with a focus on psychological safety. Thank you.